Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the.universary. Today we have a zoning violation hearing before Judge Jeffrey Middleton, and this is a Mr. Coomer who has some zoning violations with his residence. Now, what I found very interesting about this particular case, because it's not dramatic, it's not salacious or anything like that, there are no fireworks here. But it's very interesting that this gentleman explains that he is suffering from depression, he's got some major life events happening, and is facing several difficulties, but he is making a plan, he is working gradually on making this better. And he also says he's a hoarder. And initially, I'm thinking, no, that doesn't make sense. Most people who are hoarders don't really acknowledge it. They defy outright that they, absolutely are not hoarders. How dare you say so? But I've seen and known a lot of people with depression. I have suffered from depression myself, and there is that very not calm, but resigned understanding of how bad things are. And so I was personally very glad to see the way things turned out, and I will be following up. Let me know what you think in the comments, okay? I hope you enjoy.
Good afternoon. We are back. We have a zoning violation hearing here in just a moment at 1:30. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Judge.
Ms. Geschwind, I think this makes 3 days in a row you've been in St. Joe County, at least maybe live or virtually.
I think so.
Mr. Coomer, can you hear us? Laura, I think we're ready to go. If we can get the defendant to connect. There we go.
Sorry,
Good
Your Honor.
afternoon. No need to apologize. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very good. Let me go ahead and just get started here. This is file number 2321160N. It's entitled Park Township versus William Coomer Jr. It's an order to show cause for a parcel of property, just had it up, that is located on Michigan Avenue in Park Township. There was a compliance order that entered in this matter after a citation from last year. The compliance order issued December 28th, requiring the defendant to come into compliance with the ordinance within 30 days or be subject to further sanction or relief. Township has filed an order to show cause why the defendant should not be found in civil contempt for not complying with the ordinance. The enforcement officer for this action is Mike Hayden. And you are William Coomer Jr.?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Hayden and Mr. Coomer, would you both please raise your right hand? You both swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
All right. I'm familiar with this property. It's not too far away from where I live. But I don't feel the need to disqualify myself just because I live in this township. But I'll defer to you, Ms. Geschmidt, and tell me what the township wants at this point.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, at this time, the township would be requesting a couple things. First and foremost, should the defendant be found in contempt, We would ask that everything be cleaned up by April 28th. And if it's not, I would request that the court would allow the township to come in and clean up the property, as well as remove the RV, the unlicensed RV vehicles and tires. We would also be asking for $250 in attorney's fees and $180 in restitution for Mike Hayden's salary.
Let's back up. So that's what the township is asking at this hearing today.
Yes.
You weren't clear on that, but that was for his benefit. I had a pretty, the compliance order that was entered by me in December says no later than 30 days from that date, the defendant shall properly store within a fully enclosed building all unlicensed or inoperable motor vehicles, or shall properly plate, repair, and regularly use the same. If the defendant cannot repair, license, and use the vehicles and store the parts, the defendant shall remove the items from the out-of-door storage on the property no later than 30 days after the date of this order. And frankly, Mr. Kumar, we don't accomplish too much in January, but that was theoretically what it ordered. Specifically, the defendant shall remove the items from out-of-door storage. All right, specifically shall remove and properly repair, plate, and use the RV sitting in the front yard, and shall remove all vehicle parts not attached to the fully operational and licensed vehicle. Defendant shall therefore maintain the property in compliance with the township's vehicle storage and repair ordinance. All conveyances, including trailers stored out of doors on the property, shall be licensed, operable, and regularly used for their intended purpose. And then it went on to say, if you fail to comply, they could bring this action. There's also an issue, I think, that may be alleged that someone's living in this recreational vehicle, but that's not in the compliance order necessarily. Mr. Hayden, when did you last visit the property?
I was out there, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday of last week. It was the last time I was out there. The RV is still licensed and has the pull out on it, and there was still some items in the front yard, in front of the garage, and beside the garage, and on the porch.
Ms. Geschwind, can you screen share those photos? All right, Mr. Hayden, tell us what we're seeing here.
Okay, the photo in the top left is the camper that's sitting in the front yard. It has the pull out on it, no visible plate on it. The picture to the right of that is looks like a fifth wheel horse trailer, possibly. That is covered with a tarp. I do not know if that has a plate on it. It has some junk that is next to it and beside the garage. We can scroll a little bit. The picture on the left now is a picture of the front yard that has some barrels and some other items in the yard, and has boards over the front of the porch to try to attempt to hide things. The picture on the right is the same, just a little more close up of the plywood and things on the front. Both vehicles in the picture are licensed.
All right, now in that picture of the right, you say plywood placed on the porch to enclose it, which is not permitted. What's the violation there?
I was told by Joe Wicke, the building inspector, in order to enclose the front porch like that, you would have to have some type of permitting. It would also have to be weather tight and weather resistant material.
You can't just nail some plywood to your porch.
That's my understanding under the International Property Maintenance Code.
Okay. Is that it? Is there one more?
This is again another close-up of the items that are in the front yard in front of the house.
That is dated March 20th.
Yes.
Ms. Geschwind, are you going to move the admission of those 5 photos?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hayden, are those fair and accurate representations of what you saw on Wednesday, March 20th?
Yes, they are.
And did you take those photos?
Yes, I did.
We'll admit those as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 plaintiff's exhibit for this date. Mr. Coomer, some of this is easy to fix and some maybe not so much. The county is having their free or low cost recycling day where you can get rid of tires and batteries and that sort of thing. The township also provides dump passes in the spring. I will concede that sometimes in Michigan, things don't look very good in March, but this is a mess, which could be cleaned up with an afternoon's worth of work by a couple of people. The other, let's start with the trailers. If they're licensed and plated, you can have a camper or a recreational vehicle on your property. So you're holding up what appears to be a valid registration for that's for, which is that for?
And I got that back in December. The plate has been on it. Sorry, sir. Sorry.
Which vehicle? The horse trailer?
The camper.
All right.
And the plate is on it. Those pictures he has taken do not show it because the lilac bushes are blocking it.
All right. Is anyone living in it?
No, we are using it for storage at present, which I know is not the proper use. The thing is, if you don't allow me to explain, Your Honor,
Yeah, go ahead.
We're using it temporarily for storage. The pullout is broken. We cannot get it to go back in. In the spring, when the weather's warmer and I have the funds, I plan on getting it fixed and moving it back up north to my girlfriend's family's property in Bitely. And in that case, in that time, you will never see that camper again.
All right. How about the horse trailer?
The horse trailer we're also using for storage. It is plated. It belongs to my uncle, John Coomer of Nottawa. And me and my girlfriend are in process of getting rid of our stuff. It's not junk, but we are a bit of hoarders. And I have documentation that I have mental issues, depression that lead to these hoarding issues. I can get these for you. I was unable to print them off today, but we are in the process of getting rid of this stuff and cleaning it up. A lot of these pictures he took, yes, they were like that, but in the meantime, we have cleaned some of this stuff up and we are working on it. As you said, the weather doesn't always permit us to go out. And I also have been nursing a broken bone in my foot, which I also can provide documentation and x-rays. It is a lot better. It's still broken, but I can work on it. And we are working on cleaning up the property.
Well, the good news is you're going to get the month of April. That stuff, there may be some valuable stuff in there, but it's junk. It's hoarder junk. And there's not a depression defense to hoarder. If you can't get rid of it, the township can come do it for you and spread the cost. But
I can get rid of it, sir.
All right. It looks like some of, I'm not sure what could go to county recycle day if they're tires or batteries. Do you have a township dump pass?
I do not, but I've been told I could get one. And I also have been taking, I can take trash and garbage to my place of employment a little bit at a time and put in the dumpster. I just can't, because I'm the one in charge of the taking out the garbage. So as long as the garbage has room, I'm allowed to put garbage in it.
All
So
right.
I have been taking garbage to my work and getting rid of it that way too.
All right. Well, that's a start. And you're right. We've had some nice weather intermittently, but right now the last 7 days or so have not been very nice. Cold and windy, and But you think you can accomplish this cleanup by April 28th?
I will give you my best attempt to. And there's no guarantees in this world, but I will give you my best effort to do so. I have a question. Am I
Yes,
allowed
sir.
to put a tarp up over my porch?
Generally, no.
Okay.
You got those plywood.
The
People
plywood was
often,
sorry.
go ahead.
The plywood was not put up to hide anything, it was put up to protect. But I do see that I do know that it is not in code, and I am in the process of tearing it down. 2 nights ago, I came home with the intention of starting that project, and I got tired and fell asleep. So that's
Well,
on me.
the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour too. So that's really all anybody is looking for here. Now, Mr. Hayden, let's talk about these trailers. He indicates they're both licensed and you can't see the license from where you are. So we're in a gray area here. We've got some areas in Park Township and other townships where people have got RVs on a pad with power and on a lot. And I'm not sure where you cross the line from occasional use to living in it, but it's clear you can't live in it. And I don't think anybody is, but now we're in the area where they're using these for storage. He has a plan, I guess, to get both of them out of there. One of the problems, Mr. Coomer, as I've been at this for a long time, people have a plan to do something, but it never comes to fruition. There was a man that lived in Three Rivers. His name was Merritt Perkins, I think his name was. And he was a very intelligent man. He was an engineer by training, but he was a terrible hoarder. And the city was after him for years, and finally they just gave up. And he passed away, and somebody cleaned the property up, and now it's a nice house. Perkins isn't the right name, but anyway, the point of it was he had a lifetime plan for every single piece of junk on that property, and it never got done. But essentially, what you need is a pole barn or someplace to put all this stuff. Now, the stuff in the front yard looks like junk. It looks like boxes, empty buckets, broken stuff. There's about
You
a
are right.
pickup load to get that out of there. And people, including me, don't like to see it every time I drive down Michigan Avenue. But you're not alone. There are other properties in the township that have got issues, and
Thank you for acknowledging that.
Yes, I only get one case at a time, but you and I don't live too far apart, so you see some of the same things I see. Anyway, the point is to get this cleaned up. You've got a good attitude, you're compliant, but what about using these buildings, these licensed trailers to store stuff? I mean, really, there's no way to know. He can have a licensed recreational vehicle on his property. He can have a licensed horse trailer on his property. Some people want, and they have, well, there's some in Lockport, where they have a semi trailer that they bring in there and want to use for storage, and most townships don't allow that. So if these are licensed, is he
Well, the township
in
ordinance,
safe territory?
the township ordinance states that they have to be licensed, insured if required, and then used for their intended purpose. So in that case, these are supposed to be used for recreational and for a horse trailer. So under that part of it, it would not be permitted for storage long term.
All right, well, he's got a plan, I guess, to get, the RV may be a little difficult. Does it run? Or is it a tow behind?
It's a tow behind.
Okay, are the tires sound?
Yes, they are. They're 2 years old. I bought them brand new when I bought the camper from my father-in-law, or my girlfriend's father. I call him my father-in-law.
All right, well, you have a plan for it, and that's for its intended purpose, someplace
And
else.
and another factor that has thrown me back is I lost my mother going on 2 months ago, and I've been dealing with that depression, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but the one silver lining is I am looking at an inheritance that should help move fixing the camper along and getting that out.
Well, I understand, having had some recent loss in my own family. Um, it certainly derails any other plans you have when you lose a family member and you're dealing with funeral and family and estate matters. What was your mother's name?
Paula Coomer,
Where did she pass?
she was driving to Three Rivers. She was somewhere between Fisher Lake and Three Rivers. I don't know the exact spot. She had a heart attack while driving. She did get the vehicle off the road safely, but she passed away in her vehicle.
I remember. I'm sorry for your loss. I didn't realize that was
Thank you,
your
sir.
mother. Um, at least she went peacefully.
Yes,
Um,
she would be
all
happy
right.
she
Well,
went fast and didn't hurt anybody.
they have some discretion in this matter. If you're making a legitimate effort to get this stuff taken care of, they're not going to come in and ask me to drop the hammer and do all this. It's certainly easier and less expensive for them for you to do it than have the township come in and do it and put the bill on your taxes. But this township and most of the others, there's a few in the county I see very little from. But most cities and townships are vigorously trying to enforce this kind of zoning to clean up our community, and I'm certainly in support of that. But you're in a low point in your life, and you're going to do the best you can. But this will be to your benefit to get your property cleaned up. Spring is coming, summer's going to be here. So, Ms. Geschwint, you can prepare the order as you proposed with the cost you propose.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Hayden, can you facilitate getting Mr. Coomer some, we're supposed to call them landfill passes,
Yes, I can.
passes from the township?
Yes, I can find out what the procedure is for that.
All right. Is there a accessory building on this property, a garage or a barn or anything in the back?
Yes,
Is there room for any of this stuff in the garage?
there is some room, yes, but it's full too. A lot of this stuff is my girlfriend's stuff. She had to move in with me because she was evicted, but that's a different issue.
Well, it sounds like you guys can try to get to level ground. I had a case not too far away from you, in Mendon Township, a very nice house, from the front, a modern, nice home, probably 2,000 or more square feet, nice front yard. And in the back, the wife was a hoarder and the husband was not, or maybe I have it backwards. And they had some storage buildings. They had dozens of boxes of stuff stacked up in the backyard. And so it looked okay from the front, but what the neighbor saw from the back was hoarding. It was very strange. And I've certainly had lots of these kinds of cases over the last many years. So they're going to submit an order that I just agreed for you to come into compliance with this. It will say April 28th is a Sunday. Let's just go to April 30th, end of the month. And it'll give you about a month to get this property cleaned up. Some of it isn't hard. I don't know what your physical capabilities are, but you could just bag this stuff and put it in the truck and take it to the dump. The other stuff may be a little harder. And we're still not quite clear what's going on with those two licensed trailers. Anyway, Mr. Hayden will be coming to visit you and help with any advice or instructions.
I would recommend if you come to visit me, come after 4 o'clock. And I don't know what your work hours are, but that's when I'll be home.
All right, where do you work?
I work at Meyer Hydraulics.
Okay,
If he wants to come visit me at work, that's fine too.
no, it'll probably be at the property. So, all right, you got your marching orders. I appreciate your cooperation here. Let's see if we can get this accomplished. Now, your mailing address is here in Centerville at P.O. Box 663.
683.
Yeah, I get closer and closer to needing glasses every day. P.O. Box 683. So that's where you'd like the correspondence to go?
Yes, please.
All right. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I asked the TARP question. That's the only one I can think of, sir. Thank you.
All right. Again, Mr. Hayden can give you some advice or instructions if you want to talk with him, and he's going to try to get you some dump passes. Ms. Gershwin, anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You're all good to go. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.